been a difficult week for Arsene Wenger, facing questions over his future after humiliation in Munich. Will he prove the doubters wrong? Welcome to Premier League Daily. What are the consequences of defeat tonight at non-league Sutton for Arsenal? We'll hear from the manager as Wenger hints at naming a strong team as they look to avoid a nightmare scenario. Jose Mourinho's also coming up this hour. Manchester United still fighting on four fronts after an FA Cup win against Blackburn, but will trophy number one be secured on Sunday? We'll look ahead to that. And Mauricio Pochettino is also on the way after his Tottenham side breezed past Fulham thanks to a Harry Kane hat-trick. Is a first trophy since 2008 on the cards. Plenty of big talking points from the weekend, and here, look, to discuss them all, Alan Smith and George Boateng. Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning.
Excellent. Now, it's been a difficult week for Arsene Wenger. He's faced a barrage of questions over his future after that devastating 5-1 defeat to Bayern Munich. But will things get worse tonight against non-league Sutton in the FA Cup fifth round? They've only lost once in the FA Cup to a non-Premier League side in this competition. And Arsene Wenger has indicated he will pick a strong lineup.
The FA Cup is one of our targets, and it's the next game, you know, and for us to bounce back after the game we had is, of course, becomes a very important game, but it always was in my head. Everybody, after the big disappointment, regroups and focuses on what is in front of us. It's the next game, but to take care of course, with the consequences a disappointing result can have on everybody's spirit and on everybody inside the club, and to make sure that we bounce back and focus on the next game. That's what life is about.
It's Arsene Wenger and Arsenal looking to put a difficult week behind them, but for Sutton, they're hoping to cause one of the biggest upsets in FA Cup history. Club are currently 17th in the National League, and last week had two special visitors at training, Paul Merson and Matt Le Tissier.
Hi. Oh. There it is.
You get it? Right, Roscoe, it's a serious one. There's a tenner on it. If you save it, right, I'll give you 20.
He'll give you another
if
2-year contract.
You give me 10. Come on, Tiz. Right, that's a tenner you owe me. Roscoe, I'll double or quit you. If you save, and he's going to go that corner, right, it's 20 squids to me, or evens. Sorry. Brilliant for the club, brilliant for them, and so it's just been unbelievable the whole run. Because no one's expecting us to win, and I just want everyone to enjoy it. I mean, from my point of view, the lads have done everything they need to do for this football club. I'm not even trying to play it down. The reality is, you know, we've got a chance, and chances are in and around the 1%.
We also had a look around the away changing room too.
See if there's any hot water.
Yeah, I'll see if there's any hot water. I've done this at Walsall, painted the away dressing room brown. It's depressing.
That works.
Yeah, we never won a game. So in the end, I started painting our dressing room brown.
I think it's a chocolate brown on the walls that are probably affecting most of it. When I first got here, listen, this club was going down the leagues quickly. We were a very nice suburban club, all after you, sir. And we changed that mentality. We changed the white walls to chocolate brown. We made it uncomfortable for teams when they come here. And they won't like it, no.
Well, waiting for Sutton or Arsenal in the next round is Lincoln. They became the first non-league team to reach the quarter-finals of the FA Cup in over 100 years after beating Burnley. A warning of flash photography coming up. Big crowd gathered at Lincoln's Sincil Bank ground to watch the draw. This was the reaction as first they saw Arsenal or Sutton being drawn, followed by their name.
Win-win draw for us. Genuinely hope that Sutton can do it tomorrow night. I think it'd be brilliant for non-league football if that is the case. If that's not to be, then obviously we'll play Arsene Wenger's Arsenal at the Emirates. So great draw. It's a dream that's been going on about 8 weeks, so like we've shown, who would have thought that a non-league team would get to the last 8, so it just shows in football and particularly the FA Cup that anything is possible. For me, it's about the romance, it's about the journey, and it's about our supporters living this moment.
Oh, so Sutton away for Arsenal tonight. George, welcome. Alan, let's come to you then. Here we go. What are the consequences of a defeat for your former club tonight?
The consequences? What do you think, George? Well, won't be great, will it? I think Mercer said that they'd have to sack him if they lose. I don't think they would sack him. Whether he'd resign or not, I even doubt that Arsene Wenger would resign, but it would be another nail in the coffin, I think, if indeed there is a coffin there. It would be a shocking result, and even worse than the defeat we had to Wrexham in '91 when we were champions. And of course the plastic pitch brings in that extra doubt, I suppose. For the Arsenal lads, they've got to get 2 things right. I mean, the technique is good. We know that. That's second to none in terms of the technique. The attitude is the main thing. If they go out there, if they forget about the dressing rooms, the fact, you know, the facilities, it might be cold water in the showers, forget about all that, forget about the pitch, the atmosphere. If their attitude's right, you know, they're going to win the match. But we've got to make sure that they go into the game in the right frame of mind.
Right frame of mind, George. These players are used to playing under pressure, aren't they? They're used to high stakes, but will they be used to anything like this?
It'll be different because they won't get time on the ball. When you play teams like that, like Sutton, they'll be in your faces from the first minute. They make your life really, really hard for you. As Alan said, you know, attitude, mindset. I remember always when you go to those places, if you think, oh, we'll just turn up, we're better than them anyway, we'll just get them and win game, you'll get wrong. If you think positive and think, I have to have the right mindset, go there, start the game as if I'm playing against a top opposition. Give them the respect. And then actually you'll find it a lot easier. You'll win the game 2-3-0. But if you start differently, you can't turn it around.
Yeah, it's difficult.
You can't. It's very difficult. And they like it. And also, don't play their game. Because their game is quick football, one touch, channel balls, press, high press. Play your own football. Keep the ball on the ground, keep passing it, don't give them time, and keep it moving, and wear them down.
I think, I mean, Arsenal, it could go one of 2 ways. It could be a really difficult night for them if they don't start properly, but on the flip side, they get an early goal, George, and they start passing it around, they take the edge out of the atmosphere, the crowd, and they could easily win 4 or 5, couldn't they? Arsenal are that type of team, and they've got the players to do it, and I'm sure Arsene Wenger will play similar side to the one he did in the last round at Southampton with the likes of Maitland-Niles playing, who did well.
Do you think he will? Because they don't play again until March the 4th. It's the way the fixtures have fallen. So there's a bit of time to rest for the players.
Yeah,
Do you think he would be tempted to make sure that there was no uncertainties and put out his strongest side?
Yeah, I still think he'll put some of those fringe players in, as it were, because that's just what he likes to do, to keep them involved. And at the end of the day, it will still be a team that should be good enough to win fairly comfortably. Even if he were to put the first team out and the attitude wasn't right, they could still get beaten, couldn't they?
Yeah, we seem to live in a society where it's all about now, isn't it? And screaming headlines off the back of what's happened. But the dust has settled, I think, a little on that defeat in Munich. So where are we at with Arsenal?
Where are we at? I mean, I don't know. All eyes on the manager. He says he'll make up his mind in March or April. You do wonder whether he's spoken to the board and he's kind of tipped them the wink as to what he's thinking of doing, because if he were to walk away, they need time to get a replacement in. It's a huge task for the board to get the right man, and he deserves, well, the club deserve, to have that amount of time. Too many now want to see a change, so nobody wants to stay somewhere where they're not wanted, they're not loved by the fans, so that's probably going to be the decisive factor as to whether he stays or goes.
Is it fair to judge a manager on 3 weeks' worth of results when he's been there for 21 years?
Well, I don't think the fans are judging him on that. I think that's the whole point, really. It's been a drip, 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 hasn't it, with those kind of performances happening a bit too often from the fans' point of view, those big games. I mean, they lost 5-1 in Munich, didn't they, last season in the group stage, and a lot of the big games where they don't set up to be hard to beat, and a lot of fans have grown tired of it and they just want to see a change. So it's not a knee-jerk reaction. I think that would be unfair to level that at the fans. It's been building, it's been coming over the last 2 or 3 years.
There's a phrase, be careful what you wish for, isn't it? Could this be a case with Arsenal then and their fans?
Possibly. If you look at the transition between Sir Alex's era and when David Moyes came in at Man United, you have to be careful. I just think, Alan, you know, when you look at the performance at Munich, I ask whether the discipline and the fear factor for a manager has gone. Because, you know, Wenger has been there for quite a long time. And sometimes a lot of players have been there also for some time. So they lose that fear factor. When, you know, when the manager steps into the dressing room, everybody is ready, like, okay, the gaffer is here. When that fear factor disappears, you can also have a performance like they had at Munich, where nobody really, you know, fears any consequences if they have a bad result like that. So maybe not so much Wenger being a bad manager, the fact that he's been there for such a long time.
Yeah.
Perhaps, you know, then...
It's the same voice, isn't it?
Yeah,
the same
voice.
methods.
Yeah. Complacency then steps in, you know, not so much maybe from his side, but more from the players' side.
I mean, the be careful what you wish for thing, I wouldn't go along with that so much. I mean, Manchester United was a different situation. I think Sir Alex Ferguson, they won the title, so it was hard for the manager to take things on, really, but it was a squad in decline, really. It needed rebuilding. Arsenal needs reinforcements, but what a job for a manager to go into. I mean, that is a plum job. You couldn't think of many better. Haven't won the league for over 10 years, and if you do win the league there, you're a legend, aren't you? You've taken them on. So it might be that they have to take a step back to take 2 forward if they were to have a new manager in, but that might be the price you pay.
Well, the FA Cup has been the redeeming factor for Arsenal in the past few seasons. Now, Leeds, who are doing very well in the Championship this season, they came unstuck on the artificial pitch, right? Your playing career, you went and played on surfaces like this, although this is most probably better than Oldham's or QPR's in your days.
QPR's, yes.
But what is so difficult about the transition from playing on grass to playing on an artificial surface?
Well, as good as they are now, and they have got so much better over the years, the ball still reacts differently to what it does on grass, because, I mean, grass, there's all different sorts of surfaces, even in the Premier League, but that... it will run on the ball, it won't hold up so much, the bounce will be slightly different in terms of the height. You've got the black pellets that sometimes stick to the ball if it's moist and you're heading it and you've got a face full of black pellets. It's just totally different, and it's getting your mind around it. I'm sure the Arsenal lads would have trained on a 3G, 4G pitch over the last few days. They've got one indoor at Shenley, but whether they want to go outdoors and make it a bit more realistic, it's just getting used to it, really. But, of course, the Sutton lads are well used to it, as were Luton, QPR under Terry Venables. They were brilliant on it. They knew exactly how to play. And you went into the Lions' den, and half the time you got hit for 6 because the ball's zipping about and you don't know how to play it.
Finally, it's Lincoln, as we know, in the next round. So if Arsenal were to progress, Chelsea or Man United, we know, will definitely go out in the next round. So it could open up. If Arsene Wenger were to go on and win the FA Cup, would all be forgiven and forgotten, and is it all ready for a fresh season next time around, or is it deeper than that?
Yeah, it might be a bit deeper. I mean, they've obviously won the Cup a couple of times in the last few years, and that hasn't placated the fans, has it? A lot would depend on where they finish in the league. If they finish outside the top 4, outside Champions League football, that might be a deciding factor. And just, you know, they could win the Cup but not play so well in the league, and still the fans aren't happy. I don't think necessarily lifting the Cup would kind of right all the wrongs that the fans, all the unhappiness that the fans are feeling at the moment. I'm not sure a Cup win would just wipe that away in a stroke.